welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast where we waste our wine so you don't have to. On this episode, we review
a red wine from California.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Zarin, and I am joined once again by two of the most wonderful people on the planet, Colin and Joel. How are you two doing tonight?
Hey buddy,
I'm
doing
doing
well. How you doing?
Yeah, feeling nice, warm, and cozy after such a great compliment.
That's so
Yeah,
true.
absolutely.
I needed a little pick-me-up, and there you go.
Yeah,
Thank you.
honestly. Thank you.
Wonderful people, a wonderful evening. It is beautiful outside here in the north, 75 degrees and just breezy. How's it doing
Why
down
do we
there?
talk
in the
about the
free state of
weather in
Florida?
every podcast?
Because the weather
an Aaron
impacts
thing.
the kind of wine I want to drink. Why is that
Oh,
confusing?
yeah,
okay.
okay.
It all ties
That's
in.
fair.
Sure.
That's
All right,
fair.
all right,
Sure.
all right. I'm staying on brand. I'm being focused right now.
Well done.
That's good.
All right, so for those of you not here for the weather, once again, welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, where basically each episode we're going to try a new wine, and we're going to let you know whether it's worth your money or whether it's something you should avoid altogether, and hopefully we'll learn something and laugh a little bit along the way. So today, as we mentioned at the beginning, we will be drinking a red wine from California, and Joel, why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. Okay, so today we are drinking a Syrah by Tensley. So this is from Santa Barbara, California. And we picked up this bottle of wine for just about $30 from Total Wine.
Ooh, $30. That's a high rolling tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we're
know.
picking it up a little bit here.
Expect big
Yep,
things at
yep.
$30. I mean, we've been around $17 the last couple of times. We've had some pretty good wine. So, I'll be interested to see if the price difference really makes a difference in the quality of the wine.
Agreed.
I hope not, because if it is much better, then we're going to have to start spending $30 in every bottle of wine, and then my wife is not going to let me do this anymore.
That's
Oh,
a
boy.
good point. Good point.
It's like we're
I
now
guess
only
that's how you
doing
get
one
sucked in.
episode a year.
Maybe a month, a year, $30. Okay.
All right, okay, baller. It's
Okay.
fine,
All
fine. So sorry. You guys are on a higher than $30 a year wine budget? Okay.
Just
We've
like-
already spent 90 on the first three shows, so
I just put it on different credit cards, so it only feels like $15
That's
each
the
time.
way to do it.
yeah.
So, $29.99 bottle of wine from Total Wine. But before we get into the wine itself, our resident wine expert, Colin White, revered amongst his peers, is
Not
going to
sure
share with
you're
us
always
The three
fit.
of us.
Yeah, you guys. maybe.
100% of the peers on this call revere you.
Okay, well that's
He's going to share with us a fun fact, the one thing we'd like you to learn tonight. Colin, hit that drop.
This is the only thing you will learn.
So this is week 2 of 5 on our series of structure and structural components of wine. And last week we talked a little bit about sweetness and sugar in wine. And this week, since we are drinking red wine, you guys have a guess what we might be talking about of the 4 that are left, which are alcohol, acid, tannin, and body. No guesses?
Clue to say red wine.
Yes, that is the major clue in there.
Awesome. I have
So
no
given that clue,
idea. Color is not an option, so
No, it's not. And I appreciate that you picked up on the clue. But, so we're talking about tannin.
Oh,
Yes, tannin is the correct answer. Because tannin
tannin?
is no, not Biff tannin.
McFly.
Gosh, I'm sorry.
Oh, is this a
Sorry.
Back to the Future?
I'm confused.
It should be.
Go
We
on.
could-
Wine.
We could
Wine.
do that. Yes, wine.
Colin, you invited us onto the show.
I know,
That's true.
and honestly,
remind you.
starting to regret it. No,
All
I'm
right,
just
Colin's
kidding. I
gonna tell
love
us
you
about
guys.
tenants.
This is fun. Okay, I'm going to talk about tannin now. So what I'm going to talk about is what tannin is, how you experience it in your mouth, and then how to talk about it. which is one of the more important aspects of it. So tannin is a natural compound found in wine that is extracted from grapes, skin, seeds, and sometimes stems during the winemaking process. As I mentioned, you see it more often in red wine than any of the other ones, but you can find it in rosé wine and orange wine as well. Now that we know a little bit about what it is, I want to describe kind of how you feel it in your mouth. And tannin is described as having a grippy or drying effect on your mouth. And where you really feel tannin is in your gums, on your tongue, and you can also sometimes feel it in your cheeks. So when we're drinking our red wine tonight, what I want you guys to really focus in on is where you're able to experience the tannin in this wine.
So if I think yesterday, Colin, you told us, last episode, when we talk about the dryness or the sweetness of a wine, we talk about something being dry, off dry, medium sweet, or sweet. How would you describe the tannin of a wine?
Yeah, that was my next point. And it's actually much easier than sweetness because, sweetness and dryness, we talked about that whole thing and how confusing it can be. But this is really easy. You have low tannin wines, you have medium tannin wines, and you have high tannin wines. No tricks here. Pretty straightforward. And your higher tannin wines are going to be your wines like Cabernet Sauvignon and Sangiovese. And then your lower tannin wines are going to be Pinot Noir, a wine like Gamay. And this Syrah should fall right in between the two. This is going to be somewhere in the medium range. And that's really, I think, when it comes to enjoying wine, what you need to know about tannin.
So, Colin, if you were to say, if you really narrow it down, if someone was trying to determine whether it's a high tannin wine or a low tannin wine, they are thinking about that grippy texture, that grippy feeling in their mouth.
Yeah, that's right. It's the intensity, really, is what you're talking about. So the more intense you can feel the tannin in your mouth, you would call that a high tannin wine versus a low tannin wine, which, you might be able, it's going to be a background characteristic opposed to something that you're really able to feel.
All right. Colin, thank you so much. I can now honestly say that I learned something today. And as much as I love learning, the thing that I love even more than learning is trying alcohol. So it is that time that we actually get to dive in to this wonderful wine. Colin, hit that drop.
Tastes like wine.
Lovely. All right, folks, this is the part in the episode where we just share with you our overall thoughts and experiences with this wonderful Tensley 2021 Syrah. So we're going to start off by taking our big old schnozzes and putting them in our glasses, gentlemen.
The one thing I will say about this, I noticed right off the bat, is you don't really have to stick your nose too far in it to really start experiencing quite a bit of the bouquet in this wine. There's a word.
Wait, did we just learn two things in one podcast?
Yeah,
I don't think that's allowed.
I thought I'd throw it in there just.
Was that an actual thing? I thought you were just being fancy.
No. The smells of a wine are often called the bouquet.
I did not know that.
Yeah, actually.
And I actually don't 100% believe you yet. So I'm going to Google that and I'll get back to you later.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't want to be an asshole and walk into the next wine tasting and be like, oh, the bouquet of this wine. Yeah. So I'm be like, no, you're...
What are you talking about, sir? That is not a word that relates to wine in any way, shape, or
flowers,
form.
You idiot.
Please leave. I tell you what, I'm getting... I'm just getting a whole... Well, I'm getting two things. I'm getting, first of all, smacked in the face with fruit.
Big
overwhelming fruit. And then honestly, the other thing I'm getting, this might sound a little bit weird too, but can almost smell almost like that it's gonna sound so silly, but that there's alcohol in this wine, right? Like it's very, very obvious and prevalent. When I smell it, I kind of get that little bit of a burn in my nose. And it's definitely, it's like, oh yes, there is some alcohol in this wine.
Yeah, and that's not really silly at all. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's definitely more prevalent than I think it should be. I don't know if we mentioned it at the front, but this wine is 14.5% alcohol, so it's a pretty heavy hitter as far as wine is concerned. So, and I don't really love the fact that you can smell that. I think it makes the wine a little bit unbalanced. I don't like to be able to smell the alcohol. I think it's a little off-putting. So it'll be interesting to see if you can pick that up when you drink it, if it stands out as much on the palate as it does in the nose. But then also, I'm also getting, as far as flavors are concerned, I'm getting a lot of blackberry, a lot of cherry, like red cherry. It's mostly dark fruit wine, but I'm also getting some of that red cherry, especially on the finish.
Y'all get some plum in here?
Yeah, actually.
Absolutely.
That's really good. Did you just have a flavor note?
Yeah, I had a flavor note. After 2 episodes and a practice episode, I have come up with one food item that may or may not be related to a wine that I'm drinking, which is 100%
awesome.
Improvement. It's a good call.
Good for you, man. I'm so proud. Look at my little Aaron all grown up.
I learned everything I know about wine from you, Colin.
Oh, look at that. Look at us. Look at us here. But yeah, plum is absolutely in there for sure. And then I get a little bit of a floral note on the end as well.
We have a bouquet.
Well, no, yes, but not.
And all of his pride is gone. Just like that, I've disappointed Dad again.
Well. We were doing so well.
Well, fantastic.
Should we taste this thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's all the smell we have today, folks.
Yeah.
Everyone shut up and drink your wine.
So, definitely get a ton of black fruits, that blackberry, that plum. You get more of that red cherry on the finish, and then you definitely get a little black pepper, and then also very, very faint floral note.
Joel, what do you think?
Definitely, spot on with, I think, everything that we were smelling. I think it really translates here.
Very well.
I was a little bit surprised that there's a little bit more acid than I was expecting when I first smelled all the overwhelming fruit. When we were just smelling, I was a little worried that it was going to be, just 100% fruit that I was tasting as well. But, a little surprised to find a little acid in there to carry it as well. Definitely everything that we smelled. And then honestly, this might sound a little strange, but there's like a lot to this sip. Like I sip it, I swallow, and then there's still aftertaste. There's still something going on in my mouth. Maybe is that the tannins that we were talking about earlier? Is that why it's sort of seems to linger?
Yeah, no, the tannin in this wine lingers for a really long time. And I'm glad you brought that up because we didn't talk about that, but you're 100% correct. You can really feel them on your gums. Like, pay attention right now. Even, like, I haven't taken a sip for a while now, and I can still really feel it around my gums, and then also get a little tingly feeling on my tongue, closer to the tip of the tongue. That's tannin. That's absolutely what that is. So good call out on that.
Yeah, I don't have any additional flavors to add, but I do have that kind of general experience of I feel like there's a lot going on with this. There's the initial flavor of just having it in your mouth, then there's almost like the swallowing is like a whole nother thing that's going on, then that aftertaste. Like this is a glass of wine that is going to impact what you are eating or what you're drinking after this. Like, this isn't just like a pit stop glass that you would grab on your way to like drink something else. I feel like this is going to have like a long lasting impact on like your palate for the next like 30 minutes.
Yeah, this is a pretty intense wine, no doubt. Very intense with the flavor, even honestly more intense than I would think with the tannin, especially with how long it lasts. Like, I still can't, like, I haven't taken another sip and I can still feel it on my gums. But I think that goes more towards the style of this wine than anything else. There's a pretty big example of Syrah, and what I mean by big and bold, a lot of flavor, like a lot of fruit, because you have other types of Syrah that aren't going to be as intense as in your face. So I think that's what we're talking about there.
All right. A lot going on. Big wine, big thoughts. It seems like an excellent opportunity to put this kind of in the realm of other wines. Like, how are we feeling about this? Let's move into our review.
Yeah, but did they like it? It's time for the review.
That drop is so intense and so weird, but I actually think it's really like prevalent for this wine because we just said a lot about it, but it's like, yeah, but did they like it?
This wine is so intense.
Right?
So
it's
fitting.
like, oh, well, the tannins and the flavors and the aftertaste and all the stuff. It's like, yeah, do we like it? Just a reminder for folks who have heard us before, and just an update for folks who are joining us for the first time. Our review system is different than what you might see if you travel into the Total Wine, where there are numbers breaking down the quality of a wine. There are far too many numbers for us to remember, so we break it into 4 categories. The top category is wine fridge. Is this like the good wine that we're going to save for a special occasion? The second category is the kitchen table. Is this the wine that we would be excited to put out for friends and family? Just a wine that you would like to grab when you have friends over? Is this, for our third category, is this a backup wine? Is this one that you have? It's not terrible, but it's not the first one you want to bring out. Maybe you're saving it for later in the night when people are less picky, or it's just a wine to grab when maybe you've run out of all your stuff that you absolutely love. And then, of course, the bottom of the pack going down the drain. Is this a waste of your money? Is this a wine that you should not buy in the first place? So, Joel, Colin, would either of you like to start us off on where are you putting this wine?
Okay, I will jump in here because I got to tell you guys, I'm a little torn right now. This is definitely not a wine fridge wine for me, but it's definitely not a down the drain wine at all. I'm a little bit between the kitchen table and putting it in that closet and saving it for a rainy day. And I got to tell you, I think it's this is one of the bigger wines that we've tried. And it's a big swing. It's a Syrah. It's got a lot going on. But the thing I'm trying to think of is what's really kind of trying to focus in on the one thing that I really, really dig about this wine, and why I would be really excited to show it to my friends and put it on the kitchen table. And I can't quite answer that question. So I am going to put this in the closet, save for a rainy day. It's not, in my opinion, a bad wine by any means. It's doing what it does. And I think for a lot of people, this might be what you're into. But for me, doesn't do enough of one thing perfectly well for me to put it on the kitchen table. Officially a closet wine for me.
Yes, Joel. I'm so glad you said that. Like, I was right on the border with you. Obviously, when I'm drinking a wine, I'm usually erring on the side of like, this is fine. But just like you said, like, there isn't something about it that is making me absolutely love it. But it's not terrible. I'm like pouring myself another glass of it right now because it's open and it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's not one that I'm gonna put out on the table and be like, hey, I found this wine, like, you should try it. Like, I wouldn't confidently hand this around a group of people and think that everyone in the room is gonna love it. Like, I think there are some really, jarring's the wrong word, but it's definitely gonna like form opinions on. Like, some people might not like the mouthfeel, some people might not like the really extreme flavors or that kind of heavy alcohol smell that you referred to. So it could be a controversial wine. So I think it's going in my closet. I think it's a backup wine. I'd put it out later. Not pouring it down the drain. But I'm not putting it out to start tonight. Colin?
Yeah, and I agree with you guys. And I think for me, it's a style thing. Like I mentioned before, like this is just not the kind of wine that I enjoy. It's not necessarily a bad wine, although it is a little bit out of balance with that heavy alcohol, that really kind of took some points off for me. Although we don't use a point scale. Figure that one out. But this is not a wine I'd grab for. I don't know if honestly I would buy it again. If I was at a party and somebody said, "Oh, we got the Tensley Syrah 2021," would I be upset about it? No. But it's also not something that I'm going to grab for. So, I'm putting it in the closet because is it a bad wine? No, it's not a bad wine, but it's just not the kind of wine that I like to drink or share with people.
All right, folks. So, historic day here on
first closet wine, boys. How we feel about that?
First closet wine. It's huge.
It is.
So, historic day on Stop Wasting Your Wine. It's our first closet wine, but there is a difference between us saying whether or not something is a closet wine and whether or not we're saying don't waste your wine and buy it or not. So we've all said it's a closet wine. Joel, start us off. is this a waste of your wine?
I am saying no. This is not a waste of your wine. In my opinion, it does what it does. It's not offensive or unpleasant by any means at all. And I do think that this is, maybe right in somebody's wheelhouse that's listening out there. This might be something that they really, really enjoy. So I say go out, give it a go, give it a try. Not a waste of wine.
Colin?
I am actually going to disagree with you, Joel. I think this is at the price point a total waste of our wine. Like I mentioned, I don't think I'd buy it again. And, I've had much better wine at $30 than this bottle of wine. So, that's kind of my reference point, is other bottles of wine. And I wouldn't buy this one again. So I think this one at $30 for the value it gives is kind of a waste.
Oh man, this is a historic moment
Wow.
because the way our system works is it is 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 determining whether something's a waste of our wine. How we'll go on
This
our
is a big
website
moment.
later
Yeah,
as a
this is the first
recommendation
tiebreaker.
from our pod. This is the first tiebreaker, and it lands on me, the
Resident
Village
wine
Wine
expert
Idiot.
Aaron.
Wine expert Aaron, yes, with my preschool level understanding of wine. I can now spell tannins, but here we are. So we have Joel saying it's not a waste, Colin saying it's a waste, and I'm going to be honest, in the beginning, I was leaning towards it not being a waste because, like I said, it's okay. I'm drinking it. It's fine. There are some great flavors. It's not terrible. However, something Colin said really drove a point for me, and that is at $30. I actually think this is a waste of your wine. I think there's a lot of really good Syrahs out there for less than $30. And if we're looking at the price point and saying you have $30 to spend, what Syrah should you buy? This is not my recommendation. So at that price point,
Agreed.
I'm going to say this is a waste of your wine.
Wow. Okay.
Guys, first time ever.
Maybe I'll cut an official drop for that. Not that the wah was bad, but
Yeah,
maybe I'll get the British guy back. He sounded kind of sad.
Ooh, hire him back in. Then we have to fly him back in. We have to
Yeah,
put him
you're
up
right.
in
It's
the
a lot of work.
hotel.
It's a lot of work. I
That
don't
is
think we
just
have
a lot of work
cash
and a lot of money. I mean, we just spent $30 on this wine. Do we really want to fly that guy
you're
back
right.
in?
Yeah.
Well, 90 between all three of us. We're not flying anyone across the pond.
Yeah.
Not again. Not again.
Not again.
Not
One
again.
time.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hope you learned a little something. Hope you had a recommendation or not for a wine. But please join us again next time. Until then, whatever platform you are using to listen to this podcast, if you enjoyed it, please follow us, or if you are able to, leave a review or leave a comment. And as always, please follow us on Instagram for more updates about what's going on with Stop Wasting Your Wine. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
I'm going to edit that out, Joel.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Episode, since we're drinking red wine, do you guys have any idea which one of the 4 remaining structural components we might be talking about? Joel?
I just want to say body, like John Mayer. Can I say body?
That's how John Mayer says it.
I don't know. I have no idea, but it's incorrect.
Cut it out. Cut it out.